the Pledge of Allegiance. And Dwayne, why don't you lead us tonight?
All right, ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Steve, we're ready for a roll call.
Thank you, Chair Haney. Commissioner Becker? Here. Commissioner Roddick?
Here.
Commissioner Intner?
Here.
Vice Chair Rylander?
Here.
Chair Haney?
Here.
Commissioner Basor?
Here.
And Commissioner Ford is absent. He did let us know that he had a conflict, and he will probably be just a couple of minutes late, he hopes. So we do expect him a little bit later this evening.
Great. We don't have any public here, so obviously we don't have any public comments. We want to move to, well, we just have someone come in. Would you like to make a public comment?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting on February 6th, 2014. Has everyone read it?
Yes.
Does someone have a motion?
I motion to approve the minutes.
And do we have a second?
I'll second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so those are approved. We have no presentations. And so what we're going to do is, I met you at, I remember Rick, Officer Harwood. Would you have the floor?
Oh, you want me to come to the microphone?
Yeah, please.
I don't even know if it's on.
Introduce yourself and.
I met some of you when I first walked in, but for those of you I didn't meet, my name's Rick. My last name's Harwood, and I'm the new administrative sergeant here in Ojai, taking over for Sergeant Arthur. This is my 4th day on the job, so go easy on me. It's my first week back. But just to give you a little background on me so you know who I am. You know, I've been with the Sheriff's Office for almost 24 years. I did work here in Ojai from 07 to 09 as a patrol sergeant. Most recently, I've been out of the Thousand Oaks Station working as a traffic supervisor. So pretty excited to come back. This is something I asked for. I didn't get punished and sent back to Ojai. So I enjoyed my time up here when I was here from 07 to 09, so the opportunity came up to come back. So I'm glad to be here. Talked with Sergeant Arthur a little bit about, he attends the meetings and tries to give you guys updates on what's going on with the police department and any crimes or issues that have been going on in the parks, to make sure that the commissioners are all aware of that. Since I'm new, I don't have a lot of history, obviously. I did talk with the detectives today just to see if there's been anything, either misdemeanor crimes or felony crimes that have occurred in the parks lately. The detectives told me there have not been anything significant. Although today there was a vandalism in Libby Park. I wasn't aware of it, but I guess the fountain's being redone. So that we did send a patrol car over there to investigate that, but it didn't sound like it was anything significant or major damage. So I'll find out for you and let you know at your next meeting. The patrol officers are still out in the field. The reports haven't been written, or if there is going to be a report. But other than that, I don't have a whole lot to provide you for Park and Rec stuff. I don't know if you guys ever gets into other stuff that's going on with the police department or, crimes. We haven't had anything significant that I'm aware of, in the last month, no homicides or serious crimes that would concern you, obviously. Do you have any questions for me?
Or? No, we don't, but we'll all say welcome.
All right,
Yes.
thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you at our meetings.
I'll be around.
And at our Ojai Day.
I'll be at Ojai Day. I'll be at all the special events.
Open house.
Yes, our open house event that's coming up.
Oh,
Great.
okay. When's that?
May 10th, yeah.
Is that for Park and Recs or for the city?
For Park and Recs.
Oh, okay. Good deal.
It's an open house at the Parks and Recreation because we did some remodel and we're getting the public to come through and see it, and there'll be all kinds of activities, so
Oh, good.
it would be a great time to come out and
Yeah, it'd be
meet and greet
perfect.
with people.
Right,
And
introduce yourself.
It's on May 10th.
Okay. Is there any way do you keep track of all that for the city, or will you be able to email me maybe?
I'd be happy to do that for you, Sergeant Harwood.
He sent me already a bunch of emails, so we're getting to know each
Yeah,
other.
he's good
Say
at that.
welcome.
You're on the list, that's good.
I have to ask him a few questions, What do I do with this? He goes, don't worry, I'll teach you.
Well, for us, he's our Oz, all-knowing.
Yeah.
He is Steve.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. I just also wanted, if I could, for a quick moment, Chair Haney, just also wanted to extend a warm welcome to Sergeant Harwood. Certainly, he's got some big shoes to fill with the loss of Sergeant Arthur, but we're very confident that Rick will fill those and fill those ably. And generally, I think you are spot on there. You know, if there are significant issues that would be of interest just to the community, it might be good just to touch on those at the Parks Commission. We have been very fortunate in the city here. According to Captain Dave Kenny, we've really, knock on wood, not had any serious or major issues here. And crime continues to go down in the community, and I know you can only push it down so far. And we keep waiting for things to tick back up, but I think it's really a testament to the good job that Captain Kenny and his troops are doing, and they've been very proactive in terms of doing probation searches and really going out after the target areas and not just waiting for problems to develop and fester. So, and then the other thing that I just wanted to mention, I think it was very valuable in the past. We would get some statistical information just in terms of how many call outs that the police department has had to the various parks.
Oh, okay, that would be good.
So like like how often they've had to go out to Libby and what kind of generally the call. Obviously, we don't need a whole list.
Sure,
of
but like
everything that's
what,
happened.
just what they are, disturbances, drinking in the park.
Exactly, kind of just to get an idea of maybe where the trend is going. This board is well aware of the issues that we've had in Libby Park and also in Sarzati with some of the lack of good behavior by transients and other folks who tend to hang out in the park and drink and do other things. So, and we know that the police department has been working carefully with the city to try to address that. But as we know, it's a vexing issue. So thank you.
All right. Do you need me to stay for the whole meeting?
No,
or?
you're
Sure.
free to go.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. It was a
Thank
pleasure.
Thank you, Rick. Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet.
Okay, I kind of wanted to change things up based on a comment Sophocles made at our last meeting. So what I'd like to do is let Sophocles have the floor to talk about the recreation staff report for March and April programs and updates. Sophocles?
Oh, thank you, Randy.
Yeah.
Chair Haney, you're so accommodating. I appreciate that. Now that everyone's excited and fresh and to the meeting, we can keep your interest now on what we'll have to talk about. We have a couple of bigger events happening in the month of April. So there's a wildfire safety fair Saturday, April 12th. From 10 to 2 p.m. at Sarazoti Park. It'll be right in front of the Boyd Center in that grassy area. It was actually in Friday's paper, I believe,
Yes.
written up in there. So that's one kind of fairly big event that's happening at the rec. And I mentioned in the last Park and Rec Commission meeting, there's a Youth Fest at Libby Park on Sunday, the 13th, April 13th. We will be represented there. We are going to have a booth there. In addition to that, there will be flamenco doing a demonstration, our flamenco class, our kung fu class, and the Quick Start tennis program will be out on those two, court 1 and 2, doing a demo out there as well. So we're excited to be represented out there on that event. We have a couple of movies we'll be showing in April. On Friday, the 11th, that movie is the one presented by the Ojai Film Society, but it will be at the Recreation Department in our multipurpose room. The movie is on the waterfront, one of those old I think it's 1956 that movie was
I'm
put up.
amazed at the movies they show.
Yeah. And we'll be showing our own family night movie. That'll be the following weekend. It'll be on a Saturday, the 19th. And we're going to show that the more recent, we've moved away from the 80s now. We're going to show the movie Frozen.
Oh.
Something a little more up to date. Mr.
Was that the
Chair
one?
Haney,
Was
I'm-
that the one with the kid that
Maybe.
that comes back as a prehistoric guy?
No.
Much more modern.
This is a Disney, recent Disney movie.
This is a
Chair
recent, yeah.
Haney.
This
Oh,
is-
was it?
This
See,
hasn't
it
been out
shows you
that
how,
long.
Animated
You better
Disney
go, Randy.
movie.
I know.
I'm surprised you haven't seen it yet, Chair
I
Haney.
haven't seen it, I better go. Well, I was thinking, there was a comedy thing where these two young guys unearth a prehistoric guy and,
I know which one
Oh.
you're talking about.
Yeah,
but-
I mean, it
do
was a
know
really
what
cute movie.
you're talking about, yes, but it
you know,
wasn't.
with their fingers, you know.
Yep,
lose it.
that's the one.
Oh my God, Randy's killing me.
It's not that movie, really.
It's not that one.
That was a
This has singing.
As you know, the schools are on break, spring break right now, and we offered two camps during spring break. We're holding a science camp and a pottery camp.
How are we doing on registration?
Eight in the science camp and 4 in the pottery camp.
Well, and
I
the
think.
the
Say
science,
more than we
well,
had.
and the
Yeah.
science one is a maximum of 12, so that's,
Yeah.
right? So that's a
Yes.
good number.
Who's doing
Yeah,
the?
Tim Baker is the instructor, and he also will be having a specialty camp in the summer, offering another science camp. So he's been with us for maybe a year and a half.
Is the rec room open for kids to come in, and are you doing that as well?
Yeah, the game room, pretty much every afternoon.
Oh, cool.
The game room's open.
That's
If
good to
someone
know.
comes and wants to
Go
play,
some
we
pool and-
let them play. Same, like on tomorrow, for example, I got a call right before I came to this meeting, someone asking if the game room is open at 3 o'clock. Like, I think that's what it advertises in our activity guide. So yes, we have game room open from 3 to 5:30 tomorrow, and then 5:30 to 6, the dodgeball kids come
Oh, yeah.
strolling in. And then we have dodgeball from 6 to 7:30. And that's still going well, too. Numbers hovering between 20 and 25 kids a night. Let me see. Youth Five-A-Side, another exciting program. So the number has finished at 189 participants. So we're excited about that number. Those are numbers we've seen in the past when it was one Five-A-Side program prior to those.
So you feel
That's
we got a
right.
good majority of those folks back then?
All back, yeah. So that program is going well. One other thing I have on here. Of significance, Adam Singleton resigned from the department. April 1st was his last day. So we will be going out and
Is that a part-time or full-time?
looking to fill that part-time. It's part-time. So we'll be looking to fill that part-time position.
Do you think it's because of the part-time, that there's just not getting enough hours?
Well, he was offered a full-time position. He was
Oh, he
working,
was.
yeah, he was working at the rec department. He also had a at-home computer, they call it telecommuting now. He had a telecommuting job that he was also doing part-time in the mornings. So they offered him a full-time position, so that's the risky run, I guess, of having part-time positions.
Well, that's what I meant.
People-
But
Yeah.
On our part, do you think we need to look at that more deeply as a full-time eventually?
Yes, I do. I do think we would benefit maybe from a a full-time position, as opposed to trying to put it together as 2 part-timers. But that's for, I guess, a future discussion. But
We are,
that-
we are kicking some ideas around, but nothing that we could really get into or share at this point, because we don't have anything that firmed up, so.
Wasn't he working on the adult sport leagues and things like that? What was his,
well,
kind of his specific assignment?
for sure front counter and customer service, but we were trying to get him to initiate some of the new programs that he was running in Ventura, and even some new classes. And he did bring a couple new classes to the department. Unfortunately, they didn't get enrollment, but he added snag golf, which for a variety of reasons didn't pull any numbers. And fly fishing, he brought that to the programming. So we really wanted him to focus a little more on programming, but it just didn't materialize. And I think part of it is, like, once again, that part-time vested sometimes, you just don't have enough time in the day to be able to give that full effort.
Well, yeah, I mean, if the statement is a full-time position better than a part-time position, the answer is almost, I mean, it's going to be yes. And of course, it comes down to budget and all that. I think the most immediate impact for us will be the loss of the coverage. You know, right now, we use those two part-time persons we kind of, you know, try to put their schedules together so that there's coverage throughout the day. So I think that'll be where we'll feel the pinch in the short term.
Yeah, and especially with summer program moving forward, and so we'll need to fill that position quickly.
And then who's
Within the next
who's the
month.
young lady that works part-time at the, or works full-time in the summer? Does she work full-time at the lake?
Exactly. Allison,
So you're gonna be losing her pretty soon, too.
we will, absolutely, as early as May. By mid-May, she's pretty much gone from the department. And she's been, gosh, a great asset to the department. She's a real proactive, go-getter employee.
So the question is, do you need, how do you guys, do you need authorization to place an ad in the paper to fill these positions? Or that's
We
something that you guys can do yourselves?
we are able to do that ourselves, and we will proceed with that. And we can certainly have further discussion about staffing and budget and those types of things when we bring that forward at the May meeting. So if we want to get into any further about, you know, staffing levels and staffing support, I would ask that we get into that at that time.
Yeah, I guess my concern is that come summertime, it's gonna be right around the corner, and getting staff on and getting them trained is
Trained,
probably
yeah.
pretty important.
It is.
That's
We
all. I
agree.
was just,
Very
I
much.
didn't know what the procedures were, if you had to bring it up and to the city manager, and then he had to approve it, and, you know, by the time this it could be 2 to 3 or 4 weeks down the road, so. Right?
No, we're not
Not this
facing,
position.
any delay like that,
Right.
and we plan to start advertising very soon.
And that's all I have on
That's it?
the recreation updates.
Great,
Yes. Thanks
okay.
again for.
All right.
letting
Well,
me go
you know,
first.
we always make you last, and
Yeah.
you're right, now you're in the
Appreciate it.
middle of it, you're in the thick of it.
Thank you.
Okay, so, we'll cross off 9, and, who wants to speak regarding Public Works?
Well, actually, Chair Haney, if we have one more item under item 9, and it's hiding on the second
I
page
saw
there
that
at
the
the
Boyd Center
top.
remodel, I just wasn't
Oh.
sure.
It is.
Okay,
So, Mr. Katsas, can you give an update on
Sure,
where we're at with
I'll
that?
start a little bit on the Boyd Center remodel. I actually wanted to mention this at the last Park and Rec Commission meeting, and maybe I did or I didn't, but we did get new carpeting in the weight room. I may have mentioned that before, so the CrossFit and Pit people are thankful and are excited about that upgrade.
wonderful.
Yeah, and another unrelated, I'm sort of bouncing to Public Works, but another unrelated, not related to the Boyd Center remodel, but back to the Sarasota picnic area upgrades. In addition, when the restroom was built, the plan was to also put in an outdoor sink, and Public Works has been installing that in this week, so it's near completion. So I thought I'd mention that, it's looking good, and hopefully it'll be in picnic area 2. Hopefully we can get one in picnic area 1
Great.
as well. But as far as the Boyd Center remodel, it is completed, although we've asked, not Martin, help me with Dylan, his company, to do a few more upgrades. There was still some money left in the budget, so some other projects that needed tending to in the facility. They did some more painting in the multipurpose room. They're refurbishing the cabinet doors in our kitchen and repainting those.
Well, what about the,
That's not on the list yet,
Not on the
yes.
list
Yeah,
yet,
my favorite,
What's that?
it's
that
the
was,
the cafeteria door that
Oh.
swings up?
right.
It has a piece of wood or a hook that from
Oh.
the ceiling, it's like,
Well, that
it's
remains.
hokey
Little
beyond
archaic,
It's
yeah.
hokey beyond belief.
Well, that remains in place, Randy. But as far as the middle office, the temporary office we had is concerned, that is no longer. We are completely moved back into the front office, and it looks fantastic. And of course, you'll all get to see it, hopefully before the May 10th open house, but for sure at that open house.
Where did you end up putting your bookkeeper? Your
She's
Go
in-
ahead, you can answer.
She's in Matt's office now.
So
she'll
she's
be
in that
sharing-
office. She's
she'll
in
be
that front
sharing
office,
that
sir?
office, yes.
Good, see, she won't be interrupted, and you won't have that big wall of gray in front of her
There is no more wall in the
with
office.
a voice behind it,
With the what?
with a voice behind
With
it.
a voice behind the wall. Yes, it is now all open and you
Great.
see everyone when you walk into the office.
Good, I look forward to it.
So we're excited, we're happy about all the upgrades, and I know our patrons will be as well.
For those who've not been in the space since, and if you're remembering the old office, you will find it to be a space that is, I think, really completely transformed. I mean, if you didn't know it, you wouldn't even think you were in the same four walls. So
Looks good.
Yeah, it looks very nice.
ADA required.
we think it helps with the functionality and is nice and inviting, and it's a nice, clean, modern look without the ceiling tiles hanging down, and
Yes.
so.
And the step is gone.
Well, I saw it before the new furniture, so I'm looking forward to seeing it with the new furniture.
Yeah.
And there were a number of things we did, just little things that I think, just that helped tighten things up. We never had a secure drop box before. The method was they dropped the cash through the mail slot in the drawer, through the door, and then somebody would have to collect that at some point. And while we certainly have wonderful employees and we trust our employees, to have a secure system where somebody can come in now and put that into a drop box that then goes into a locked, secured
Makes sense.
box, just seems to make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've mentioned before too, the other upgrades, which are especially I'm happy about, are the multimedia, the new speakers, the 12 by 12 foot movie screen, the HD projector. All those things are going to make our movies better that we show there. And in the summer program, we show movies to the campers, so it'll be that's been a major improvement.
Good.
All right.
Since we're talking about the audio video upgrade, I would be remiss if I didn't mention, I got a little ahead of myself at the last meeting when I was talking about the upgrades to make that room broadcast ready. I got that mixed up with this other audio-visual upgrade project, so that is not something that we're currently doing, but it is a project that we have on the books to get done. And we just need to build up some of the PEG funds that we get from the cable franchise. And as we have that, we will be able to purchase that equipment and then have that so that we can easily do broadcast from that facility without having to completely break down this
So at this
equipment
point,
and move it.
when they were going to have the meeting that was canceled, they were going to take everything over, install it
Exactly.
for the day, and then bring it back.
And then bring it back, which is very time consuming, and then you don't want to be moving that equipment around.
Right.
Unless you've got a way that you can really safely transport it, and that's part of the plan. You get these special cases that it goes into, and so your equipment is protected and it's mobile.
Okay.
So that is coming down the line. And again, you are correct, Commissioner Ittner, if the directive was given, we certainly could
Possible.
do something there, right?
It's just not available all the time.
Exactly.
Okay.
Hey, Coach.
Another L.
Oh, darn it. Okay, so are we done with the recreation staff reports?
Yes.
And so we're going to move to the public works update?
I'll speak briefly on the Libby Park fountain area, and I'm sorry, I don't quite know the extent of what Sergeant Harwood was reporting there. It doesn't sound like it was too serious. But they are just about, Public Works is just about wrapped up on that project. I know that they have installed the new lights. I believe all the tile work is done, and there's just a few minor loose ends that they have to finish up on that. But it's looking really good, and so, like I said, I think that's just about in the home stretch right now, and should be
Great.
done soon. And then I think just the other thing on the Public Works update, I'll have to check, I haven't heard a date yet on when our new park signs will be in.
Yeah.
Have you?
No, I haven't.
And then the other thing that we're doing there, just to let the commission know, is we've identified that the park, Sursati Park, is lacking in signage in a lot of areas. There's either signs that used to be there that have been damaged or removed, everything from, no vehicle access and things like that. So we are going through and identifying where we need some additional signage and working on getting that addressed. Hoping we might get that done before the open house, but there may be other pressing things. But that is something that we're working on, just to get that a little tighter.
Do you think we'll have our standard signs that we've talked about, or do you think they're not gonna?
Gosh, I hope so. I don't know the answer to that. I would have, if you would have asked me a month ago, I think I would have said absolutely. And in fact, I would have probably guessed that we had them by now. So I'll have to check on
Okay.
that.
Thank you.
I will find out from Public Works where that's at.
Okay, I guess we're ready to move to discussion items. So we want to do discussion item A, amended duties and responsibilities. I see a memo attached to it.
So I know that this has been before the commission a few times, and we discussed it most recently at our March meeting. Commission wanted this to come back for a little further consideration and discussion before before the commission was, I think, ready to make any type of a recommendation or motion. I think we have pretty much nailed down the issues that are addressed in the memo regarding the requirements for the youth commissioner.
Right.
So I don't know if we have any further comment on that. I know that there is still desire to have a little more discussion on the power and duty regarding the selection of personnel. And the other item that we had up there was the formulation of the policies and plans for planting, care, and removal of trees, shrubs, and flowers. And
Steve, I'm sorry, but didn't we,
Yes.
on the powers and duties, didn't we kind of all agree that the way you had it worded in the recommendation, that we didn't agree with that?
No.
We
Well,
did
which one?
On the recommendation here that, to aid and advise, so we just changed the verbiage, so that we're still a part of the selection and interview process?
well,
At the
that,
city manager.
Do you see
city
it reflected in
manager's
this memo? Because
leisure?
I don't see it reflected in the memo.
no, it is
This is
not.
the same memo we've seen before.
That is
That we
correct.
went over last time.
That is
And it's
correct.
come back to us again in the same form that we saw at last meeting.
Okay,
So I don't think there are any changes here based on our previous discussion.
okay.
But I think from
Correct.
my recap is that we were done with the first and the last, and that the only discussion point left was the aid and advise.
I have the same recollection.
selection.
Yes, that
So
we
did we
were,
want to talk about that tonight?
it's certainly before the commission to discuss, and I think that was the intent, was to hopefully try to get through that issue. And then if the commission is satisfied with this, we can either pass it along to the council with a recommendation, or we can continue to work on it.
So why don't Sage, what's the
recap?
your recap, and what do we think, what was the sticking point?
Well, for me, I don't see an issue with the aid and advise as it stands now. The current language, the problem that is referenced in the menu is that, or in the memo here, is that it's in conflict with the city manager's style of government. I still don't see the conflict with aid and advise and the current language, because I don't think it implies or explicitly says that the commission thinks they're going to hire or fire anyone, and I know that that's the concern with the language, is that it implies that we feel that we're part of the hiring and firing of an actual employee. So from my perspective, I still think that the language as it was in the beginning is still fine now.
Okay.
I don't see the problem.
Does anyone else have any comments on it? I remember, I think my comment was that we had the city manager come in and talk to us about his
Concerns?
concerns, and I'm sure you're gonna, that you two have had that discussion, But again, I don't think any of us are, have come to the conclusion that we are gonna hire somebody and we're gonna fire somebody. I think what we're actually looking for is in the hiring process, that if there's an interview being conducted, that someone from the commission be asked to sit in
that's
that
what
interview
we-
if it goes
Yeah,
that far.
Yeah, I thought
On
that's
part
what
of
we
the
had
panel.
said.
Well,
I think
and
that's
I think
all-
we worked on language to that effect, but and I also think that aid and advise covers that.
Right.
So the current language, as it stands, I don't see a problem with it, and I don't see any implication that the commission feels that it'll have the power to hire and fire. I don't think the language implies it, or that anyone would take away from that, that was the expectation. So I guess where we are is where we were before. I don't think anything's changed from where our commission stands and where the memo is. So I think for our
That-
commission, it's just a matter of, this is what we're comfortable with. We're not interested in changing the language on this particular line. And so we make a recommendation on these and send it to council. And then council will make decisions based on what they feel is most appropriate.
I would say that, at least the way that Commissioner Ittner has stated it, that I would say that would be supported by its staff and the city manager. I think the particular sticking point for us isn't necessarily particularly this language, but, and I know we had some discussions about, for example, the commission saying, we may want to be able to have a seat on the interview panel. The city manager's position is he does not feel that he should be, that we should have something on the code that, basically ties the city manager's hands to have to do that. But that doesn't mean that it wouldn't be something that we would certainly consider going forward, It certainly may be appropriate to put together an interview panel that has a member of the Parks Commission on it. But I would say the city manager's position is if we were to have something that really dictated that in the code, which of course this is not, that would be something that staff could not support. So if the understanding, and I think that was always our fear, for lack of a better way to express it, was that there would be an understanding that, to aid and advise in the selection could be interpreted to be part of the actual decision.
Process?
Part of the actual decision.
Well, we'll
as
never be
opposed
part
to
of the
the
decision
process.
because we are a city manager form of government. So implicitly in our form of government, it already is clear, all hiring and firing, short of the city manager, is done by the city manager. So I don't see the confusion.
And I would agree, if we're talking about it from that standpoint, from that perspective, that understanding,
That's what they do.
then
I don't think there could be any other
I would
understanding.
think from the city manager's position, that it would be one of the better things that he could do would be to have a Rec and Park commissioner sitting on a panel, helping to interview a candidate for a future Recreation Park Director position. It just makes sense. To me, that's just one of the responsibilities of this commission.
Right, to aid and advise.
I mean, it's,
And you're talking manager, director. You're
Well-
not talking about staffing.
Right.
No.
And I think that your language, if you wanted to meld together the old and the new, I think that would be totally possible because the proposed language of aid and advise the city manager on the level and composition of staffing for conduct of the city's recreation programs and the qualities of key departmental personnel such as the director and/or assistant director or equivalent thereof. There's information in there, but I think we should still keep the original to aid and advise the council or city manager in the selection of properly qualified personnel to conduct the recreation programs of the city. I think that is pretty clear, but I think if you really wanted to even be more specific, because something that you've added here is the level and composition of staffing, I think that's a good addition, because I think that's come here and there's been discussion, I think it's been useful discussion of, do we need more part-time? Is it in the office? How do we best serve? And I think it's been a discussion, and aiding and advising. I think keeping that in and melding it with the original would be fine. I think tailoring that first sentence to apply to, director and/or assistant director of equivalent or equivalent thereof, you could meld that with that sentence and you'd have all of it right there. So I think the best would be to combine both of those statements.
So, am I understanding the combination then would be keeping the language as it currently is to conduct the recreation programs of the city, and on the level of composition and staffing for the conduct of the city's recreation programs, and the qualities of key department personnel such as the director and/or assistant director, et cetera.
Looking at it, I think you could lose "and the key qualities of key department and personnel such as," and add back into advise, use that first, the current powers and duties right there.
I see. So,
So you would say, what you're saying then is to
You would
aid
take
and advise in the selection of a manager. or
of director and/or assistant director of recreation, or the
Yeah.
equivalent thereof.
oh, okay. I
So
thought
add-
I
so
had it,
add
and
the-
now I think I'm confused.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's probably me,
Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it
Okay.
does.
I'm taking the current language,
right?
the to aid and advise, and then,
Right.
and then take that and then get rid of "and the key qualities of the personnel such as the," take that out and then add right in there, "to aid and advise the council or city manager in the selection of a director and/or assistant director of recreation or the equivalent thereof."
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
so it'll basically
That
have.
basically.
It says it all for us.
It does.
And it specifically takes the aid and advise on that, which is those roles or whatever. And I like your language, which is, or the equivalent thereof, because right now we have a modified kind of, we've worked it out. Was that clearer here?
I think so.
Okay.
We probably, if at some point we're ready to make a motion tonight, would probably be good just to spell it all out specifically in the motion, because I want to make sure that I have
Yep.
it correct.
Okay.
We'll make a motion and then she can just read
Well,
it.
let's make sure I have it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, would you like a couple minutes?
Just a second.
The other thing, and, we've kind of touched on this a few times, but the handout that I gave tonight, this was also some definitions that we had considered back a few months ago. And if I recall correctly, I think the direction from the commission was to include these as well,
Yes.
because it really, I think, helps
That they
really
were-
flesh
yeah.
out,
They were more
even
specific.
further
Yeah.
what the roles are. So, not putting words in the commission's mouth, but just is that the understanding that it would be?
I think these were already in our packet for tonight as part of the memo.
I've included it so many times, I think I
Yeah, no, I
probably
think you got it to us with the memo. It was there.
I did.
Which, and it is good, and we did discuss them, and we were all,
All in agreement.
yeah.
with these.
Good.
I think the only issue was this last bit.
This is the only one that
Yeah.
we were.
That's my recollection as well. Okay.
Okay. Where's my other page? Do you want me to take a stab at this, and everyone can tell me if this sounds right?
Yeah, so.
To aid and advise the city manager on the level and composition of staffing for conduct of the city's recreation programs. Then, to aid and advise the selection of the let's make sure I've got it right. To aid and advise the council or city manager in the selection of the director and/or assistant director of recreation or equivalent thereof. Did I get it? Is that,
I think you did.
or equivalent thereof?
Director
Of recreation or the equivalent
Okay.
thereof. Does that,
That's-
Steve, does that make? And is everybody in agreement that that sounds,
Yeah,
all right?
good job.
Do we need to still make a motion on that,
Do.
Steve, that we want to forward that and have that drawn up into our?
Yeah, did you make the motion?
I
now?
didn't.
Oh,
I
I'm
gave
sorry.
you the language. I want to make sure we were right on the language.
Okay, why don't you read your language one more time?
Okay, let's see if I can do this. To aid and advise the city manager on the level and composition of staffing for conduct of the city's recreation programs. To aid and advise the council or city manager in the selection of the director and/or assistant director of recreation or equivalent thereof.
Chair Haney, I'd make a motion that we accept the language that was just repeated and go ahead and
And the rest of the,
the rest of our
Changes.
items here and have staff go ahead and put it into a final written for us to review.
Yeah, I thank you for that. Yeah, I think you missed
Did I
when
skip
you
the-
stated in the first part to aid and advise the council or city manager.
or city manager, sorry, in the selection of, okay.
Thank you for clarifying, Commissioner.
Okay, so we have a
We
motion,
need a second.
I
Correct.
second the motion.
and it's, did we get the verbiage on it, or,
Yes, yeah, we do. We have the verbiage.
and we have a record of it?
Yes, we do.
Okay,
And
so
it
you have to bring it
includes,
back.
it includes
Okay,
the,
play it back.
That's good.
includes the other changes that are reflected in the memo, as well as the powers and duties that were included in section 2.4 dash 104,
Great.
just to
Good.
clarify.
So now we just
Okay,
vote.
and then did we have a second on that?
You do.
Sunday seconded it.
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Steve, it's all yours.
Thank you, Commission. I know that was a bit of a chore to work through that, and I appreciate your patience as we work through those iterations, and we will bring that forward and get it to the City Council, and we'll let you know the date that that is chosen.
Great. Okay, so we're on to B, and I think what we're gonna do tonight is we're going to, table, the draft policy and naming of city facilities and memorials, because I missed the meeting, so I'll take responsibility for that. Unless, Steve, you and Sophocles and Austin would like to, discuss anything that you guys,
Well, just, I think we're getting farther along, and I think we're making good strides in figuring out. We still have a couple of questions that I think we still need to discuss at the committee level. One of the things that I think would be very helpful in the policy that I didn't see initially, I think it's pretty clear if we're crafting a policy that talks about if you want to, name a city facility or city building, obviously the person's not going to be required to provide the building.
right?
They might be required to bear the cost of the signage, or maybe not. So that's, I think, an issue that we need to talk about. And then when it comes to actual memorials, what we've been discussing is, it seems that there's really two things that are identifiable that you could do memorials on, which is, some public furniture, like a bench or something like that, and then, we have had instances where somebody will donate a tree, dedicate a tree to the city that's then,
Right.
planted in a park or city hall or something like that. So I think we need to establish, who pays for that and what that level of responsibility is. I think in most cities, that's the way that it works. If you want to come in and get a memorial bench.
I think they're responsible for everything if they want to do that. So-
Well, I think that's some of the things that we're trying to ferret out in the committee is, what we want our policy to be. Austin, anything, or Sophocles?
Just did a little research today on it. Oh, excuse me. Just did a little research today on it, and there are plenty of cities with policies that we can gather information from and use and implement into our own policy. So we're moving closer to getting a more clear and concise final naming policy. But what we didn't have before was for the smaller plaques and memorials and markers. So we knew there had to be a different definition between some naming a city facility and the kind of process you need to go through for that, and then something on a lower level and what kind of process they need for that.
Right.
For something that's
For
not
instance,
as great.
does this room have a name, other than council chambers?
I'm not aware of one.
Would you like
Well,
to
I'm just
name
saying,
it the?
that someone may
Haney-
want to come in here and rename
Try.
this whatever. I'm just
Yeah,
saying that's we're differentiating.
The Haney
yes.
No.
Meeting room.
No, I like it as the city council chambers, but I'm just saying, for instance, there's a difference between naming a room.
A single
Well, I
room
think,
and an
I
Versus
think this whole
naming.
building, though, is under somebody's name.
Okay.
I think the whole thing is.
Yeah, it's a historic landmark, right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing that we did based on the feedback from the last meeting is, and as Mr. Kotz has stated, we tried to break out and separate out, again, the difference between the naming of a facility and memorials, and then we've developed a separate application form for that. Because as we started to look at, they're two different creatures.
Right.
So I think we made some good progress, and we're getting closer.
All right. Okay, so now we're on to the open house. And should we turn that line item to Softclees or turn it to Sage?
It looks like Matt's here.
Yeah, Matt's.
Yeah, Matt has been waiting patiently in the audience, and
Is Matt in charge of open house?
He is.
he is one of the committee members for the open house, one of the staff who are helping with the open house.
Matt, then you have the
plans.
floor. Open us up.
Thank you. Well, Tuesday morning, Sage, Sunday, Steve, and myself, we met to have our first meeting for the open house, which is, as you guys know by now, scheduled for Saturday, May 10th, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. We're all real excited about it, and it's going to be our first time doing it. So we'll see how it goes, and we hope it goes well, and maybe it's something we can do in the future. But I think that's something we can discuss after we hold the event. Anyway, I guess since we are early in the process, there aren't a ton of details to give you guys at this point, but I did want to let you guys know kind of some of the basic ideas and goals and things that we are going to have happening at the open house. The plan right now, I guess the basic plan is to have a vendor fair on the front lawn of the recreation department, where we're inviting our contracted instructors, and we can even have leaders or stuff from our own programs there as well, to be out there and to basically put on display what they're offering, not only this summer, but throughout the entire year. I have asked of them to bring something interactive or fun or something to do with people, something active, so that it's appealing to kids and parents and stuff. But we're excited to have them out there and to kind of tell everyone about their program. A lot of our instructors in particular are really passionate about what they do, and they can tell everyone about their program way better than we can or the activity guide could. So it's great firsthand knowledge for parents who are considering signing their kids up for a camp, and it's really great to put kind of a face with the person who's going to be leading the camp or the class before it actually happens. So that'll be happening out on the front lawn. We'll also be scheduling activities or presentations in the NPR throughout the day. So there'll be a schedule of things happening in there, and people can go in and check out what's going on at certain times. For example, like our Kung Fu class, for example, we'll be going in there maybe and putting on a Kung Fu demonstration so people can learn about what actually happens in the class before getting involved in it. The other thing that's going to be happening is obviously one of the main reasons for even bringing this up was that we had all the upgrades to the department, and we're going to have the whole building open and showing off all the new great improvements at the recreation department. To be determined on giving tours to people and just showing people around who's going to be doing that, whether it's going to be staff or maybe even you guys. Other main thing that's going to happen is we're attempting to offer some free food to people, a barbecue. So I've been talking to Robert, and we'll see if we can make that happen. But it's a work in progress at this point. Also hoping to have some inflatable attractions just for the kids to come and play on, something to catch everyone's eye and get people excited about what we have going on there. We're planning to have some free giveaways and raffles as well, so it should be a fun and exciting day. Great kickoff to our summer registration for our summer programming, and I think that's about it. Unless Sage and Sunday or Steve has anything that they'd like to add.
No, I think you said it all.
Yeah, that's mostly it. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for people to come out and see what's going on, and hopefully get them to participate. Hopefully we'll have a good combination of our classes and maybe a couple of athletic kinds of things. Everything's still evolving, but lots of opportunities for participation. And we're going to have the banner up, and hopefully we're working on a new banner that will showcase the open house itself as well as the brochure coming out, because the timing is perfect. The brochure will come out the Friday before or is it
Yeah,
the week
maybe about the
before?
week or so before.
The week before.
Yeah.
The brochure will come out, so people will be able to start looking at those classes, and then they'll have an opportunity to come on that Saturday and see a lot of the people who are going to provide them and interact, and hopefully we'll throwing lots of ideas around the raffle, having people go from booth to booth to get raffle tickets, so everywhere you visit, you get a raffle ticket, so that you're interacting with a lot of the different, people who do the different classes. So it should be a lot of fun, working on maybe some,
You know, I was at a home and garden show, and they did a bingo thing, where you pass
Fill
out
in the
cards,
card.
and they go to booths, and they fill out a letter. It's pretty simple.
yeah.
That's a good idea.
And I just wanted to go back to the free food thing, and I just want to make sure who's number one chef and who's number two chef. 'Cause, the last meeting, my name
He
was
wants it
before
on the
Robert's,
record.
and now all of a sudden I've been demoted. So I just, I know it's early on.
You can be co-food chef.
It's early on, but I'm throwing
It's a
my
co-chair.
hat into the arena.
Well, you guys are all,
We can have a cook-off, all
There
right?
you
yeah, there you go. We hope you guys all get involved and all come out, and
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be cooking, but
You'll be
I'm not-
I know Robert and Randy sound like they kind of locked that part up already. But
I was actually
I hope
doing
you
my
guys all
pricing
come
today.
out.
I was doing my pricing on
Oh,
ribs
he's
today.
working, oh, yeah.
You know, I was thinking, well, is it $1 a rib, and you could wrap them, pre-wrap them, and feed them, and I went, that's not gonna recover the cost, because I got 23 ribs, so,
I think the menu has,
Cook-off.
You guys need, you have an ad hoc, there you
Our
go.
own meeting.
We'll
And
let you
I
arm
think
wrestle it out.
I've wanted all the commissioners to come and invite city council and get the community out there, and also have the opportunity to let us know what type of programming maybe we're missing, and we wanted to really invite people
Suggestion box.
to, well, we were gonna
Talk
actually
about
just
it,
have an
yeah.
open section and board for people, sort of a wish list of what are we missing, what would you like to see?
We're imagining a wall
I wanna
that you could
I wanna touch on
comment
that
on. And we wanna just
on the
be
next
there to
line item.
talk
But
about that,
But I had one other thing here on the, on the open house, is the marketing part of it right now. Instead of waiting a week before May 10th, are we putting something in the Ojai Valley News?
Yes.
Or
This
or
month-
Youth Fest, are
We
we
have a
handing
plan.
something out at Youth
Right,
Fest?
I
would be a
mean, are we
huge
prepared to
opportunity.
start marketing this so that we don't have 20 people show up?
When
We have
we
20,000.
have a little bit
We got a
more
plan.
definitive information on what's happening, it'll be a little bit easier. But I certainly know that a flyer is in the works.
We're gonna give out your phone
And
number.
we will be, doing things. We did discuss this at
Yeah.
the meeting. We'll be doing things through the newspaper.
That's the co-chair's
Like
responsibility.
we're going to Youth Fest.
will we have
It's
something
going
there
to
at
be
Youth
on
Fest?
the postcard that's going out to
Right.
everyone. So it'll be a part of that as well. So we're definitely going to be letting
plan.
people know about it.
Yes, there is.
He's gonna have Facebook, we were talking
Yeah,
about getting something
Facebook,
in
our email
schools.
database.
But we talked about doing some type of advertisement in the Ojai Valley News, as well as press releases, and also trying to talk with them, see if we get some type of coverage for the event leading up to it, and hopefully on the day of as well.
Great.
There will be a flyer at Youth
Oh, good.
Fest.
Okay.
Great.
To announce the open house.
That's great.
We have already put it on Facebook. I believe we sent out a mass.
We did. We
email.
RSVP, save the date.
Save the
Yeah,
date.
save the date.
Yeah, so,
It
and.
didn't have
again-
any information. It just said, hey, we're having an open house,
Yeah,
this day.
right. And the postcard, I think, goes out 2 weeks prior to the.
It'll go out,
activity
yeah, right
guide.
before the guide.
Yeah, so, and it'll have open house information on the postcard as well, so
Is it in the guide?
there's.
All right, Matt, thank you very much.
Thanks, Matt.
And I don't know, I think Matt may have mentioned this, but we'll also be taking registration that day too.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a push for that,
Yep.
and I think that's something new that we haven't offered.
I don't know that we talked about it either, but is it in the brochure? Do we have
The-
space on the brochure as an invitation to the open house, as it will go out the week before?
We talked about that.
I think we might
did
have.
talk about, we're not quite sure if it's,
Could be an
necessarily
insert.
effective use of space because
be an
it'll just
insert.
be, it could be an insert.
Insert might be a better
Something,
way.
yeah, or the back
But the-
page or something. or-
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know,
We
just,
could
I,
do an insert.
Yeah, we had talked about that, you're right, and there's limited exposure time.
I understand.
And then a bit of a problem if you put too much, if you dedicate too much space to something, which is then over, very early in the life of the document.
No, I
So-
understand. But the other part of that is it's perfect timing.
Yeah.
If you're talking to a parent, when something gets in my hand and I
Oh,
first
it'll
look at
definitely
it.
be
Give an
ma-
audience.
Yeah.
It
It'll
is great
definitely be
timing.
mentioned
We-
in the
we-
guide.
I suppose, Sage, sorry,
okay.
it's a good point because what we've done times is on the front cover.
A little
put
bubble
just
or
a
something.
bubble
Yeah.
on the front
Yes.
cover saying open house this date, something very simple.
Come enjoy
like
all
that.
of these opportunities, or some kind of
Yeah.
connection to it, so that.
We could put it
not
on the
huge,
front
but
cover.
just something a little.
Yeah, like I said, I like the
A
idea,
quick
of it. Not
bubble
because I said it, but an
announcement.
insert. You
That would be
know,
fine, too.
It's just something that they're gonna bring. You know, a return for your
turn it in for a
hamburger,
raffle ticket.
soda,
For your
seen that
free
bingo board.
reusable grocery bag.
Oh, there you go. We've got those too. Okay, good. Well, we'll quit bothering you with details.
Okay.
and-
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to discussion item D, scheduling dates of commission meetings at the Boyd Center.
So I want to get back to the commission with a little feedback, because I know we had talked about at the previous meeting about an idea of perhaps holding the joint city council rec meeting at the Boyd Center. And I did discuss that with the city manager. One of the things that I realized was, without having that broadcast equipment yet, that's logistically, I don't want to say impossible, but darn near impossible.
So the reality is
The-
not yet.
The issue would be, as you're aware, the joint meetings have been held on the regular nights when the city council meets, the hour before their regular meeting. And of course, those meetings occur in this room. So the challenge of trying to do something off-site would be, they have their regular meeting that starts at 7:00. So you've got travel and logistical issues, unless for some reason the council decide that they wanted to just hold their regular meeting there, but regular meetings are by the code supposed to be held in the council chamber. So, the city manager suggested, and I wanted to bring this forward to the commission, that we put that on the agenda when we have the joint meeting in August, to talk about a date when we could have a joint city council Park and Recreation Commission meeting that's held at the Boyd Center.
And it would be reasonable to wait until
And
the
then
video
there
is
is-
in place and the infrastructure is there.
That's only,
Yeah.
yeah, we should do that, wait until we.
That sounds good.
So it was an idea that really sounded good when we talked
Jumped
about
on
it, and then as we started to think it through, we realized that there were a couple of issues there, so.
So we table that until the infrastructure's in place and then
Right.
talk about it then.
That's
So I
what
would
motions-
recommend that we put it on the agenda for our August
meeting, yes,
joint
our joint
meeting with
meeting.
the city council,
Okay.
and float the idea at that point and see if it's something that the council would like to do.
Well, I had another comment I wanted to make with that too, the scheduling dates of commission meetings, and then something in our commission duties. It was on 2-4-104, and it was to become knowledgeable about the general field of recreation, the programs and facilities provided by other agencies and organizations within the area, and the needs of city recreation program participants and recreation facility users. And that was something that I had also wanted to do, was to, if we were going to do a joint session, or we were going to do a commission meeting at Sarasota, I was thinking that we needed to actually do an outreach to the community and do the same thing, have, you're creating a comment section or a box at the open house. I think we actually need to do something a little more formal. And I'm lacking a name for it, but we need to actually let the public come in to one of our meetings and talk about the pros and cons of the recreation program as it is now, what their needs, additional needs are, and just get a brainstorming session with the community regarding where the department is, where the department's going. And I think we need to do that. And I don't quite know how to do that, but we need to do that.
Do you think we could kick it off at the open
Yeah.
house?
We
With,
talked about
Go ahead.
survey as well.
Yeah,
But I
and
think
then
we
it will
want,
be discussed at our joint whatever, meeting or something we can put down too. So if they want something that we can review, get back, formulate positive answers or whatever we need to do. But I'd also, with, excuse me, with Chair Haney's suggestion, I would rather see a lot of people show up and verbally tell us how we're
yeah,
doing.
and have that,
That's what we want to hear.
Right.
that's what I was hoping.
Well, that's what I'm saying. To me, I think there's three areas three main needs of the community, and that's adults, obviously. There's the youth, and then there's that youth under. That's that 2-year-old to 5-year-old. There's just in my neighborhood alone, there's 3 brand-new babies, if not 4. I mean, there's you know, those are the people that we need coming into the community center, and those are the people that we're gonna be impacting, not 5 years from now, but 10 years and 15 years, and we need their input. We need their involvement.
I agree.
And so I don't know the name for it, I don't know the term for it, but we've got to figure out what to call it, and we need to do it sooner than later.
I have a suggestion. It looks like our May meeting is going to be pretty packed, and I'll go over the details of what we're anticipating for the May meeting. But perhaps we could put this on the June meeting. Would that be early enough for discussion? And then we can start having some formulation on where the commission would like to go, and maybe we could work towards doing something like that in the fall?
I think that sounds okay, but I think we can also work a little more on what we want to accomplish have that
I think
outreach with
that's
the
a good
community
idea.
during our open house, but to do something more formal.
I'm also thinking that this might be something that we need to do. It's just like you're writing a budget. It's writing your budget for your recreation for the upcoming year. And it's not monetarily, it's,
Planning.
Yeah.
it's planning and thank you.
Maybe put something in the paper and invite and have specifics, feedback.
And you can do that either in this room, or you can do it through a subcommittee. And you
Sure.
could actually, have it at a town hall, or you can do a meeting actually at one of the facilities.
Sure.
That's what I'm thinking that we need, and along with an open house prior to the fiscal year coming to an end, that you'd want to do it prior to that. So this year it's too late, I'm agreeing, June. But our fiscal year is what, June 30th or July 1st through
June 30th?
30th? Yeah. So,
Okay, so it's a future agenda item for June.
right.
Okay. And we'll work on, with the open house, some form of soliciting
Right,
public.
and coming up with a
comment.
planning term for it, but I think we need to do that. Okay. That'll also, in the big picture, that'll also help us with the master plan, that'll help us with the mini plans, that'll help us with determining what,
Who we serve, who we don't serve, how
Right.
we serve them, what more they need, what people
Right.
want.
absolutely. Okay. All right, so we're done with D?
If I could just add one quick
course you
comment. I just didn't want to confuse the commission in terms of my comments with the joint city council meeting. I'm not implying or suggesting, because I know we had discussed at the last meeting about holding these meetings on occasion at the Boyd Center, and that there's no problem with that. So we are ready to, look at dates, or as the commission would like to
Okay.
proceed with going forward with that.
Why
I'd
don't
say
we,
it's,
if we're gonna do that, let's add that to the June agenda.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
that's
It
a
would
good
make
idea.
sense.
okay.
Yeah, because
And
I
I'm
thought
glad
we
you-
couldn't do it because we
Yeah.
didn't have the audio
I'm glad you
system set
clarified
up at Sarasota, but you're saying that,
We just don't have the video.
right, okay.
It's certainly going to get easier once we have the additional equipment. But, if it's something that the commission really wants to do, we could look at it.
All right, so we are on to commission reports and comments. Does anyone have a comment? Anyone like to clue us in on anything? Tennis players? Anything going on at the tennis courts we need to know about?
Yo, hi, it's coming up. The,
If you want to volunteer, I don't think.
we could use a lot more volunteers. It's the 24th through the 28th. Let's see.
23rd starts the.
Well,
Yeah, Wednesday, the 23rd will be at Libby,
yeah.
and then through the Sunday, the 27th.
So we need volunteers.
Oh, yeah. Always use more volunteers.
I'll serve tea.
They
I've
Let's
done
not all
that,
raise,
it's
let's not
fine.
all raise our hands at one time, right, you guys? Okay, but I'm hearing that. Okay,
This is what date again?
Wednesday, April 23rd is the first day. That's just at Libby. I think that's just primarily Pac-12.
It should be, yeah.
And then it goes through till Sunday, April 27th. It's the finals. That's all at Libby. But then the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you've got the Ojai Valley Inn and the athletic club mixed in there as well as Libby. Well,
it's
the-
all
it's
over
all
the
over.
valley.
It's even
It's all
the
over the
tournament.
valley. It's all over.
They use every court they can get a hold of.
Yeah.
Don't they even use
They
Lower
use-
Campus over here too?
They
Oh,
use
yeah.
private, they
so
got
when
a
you
ton
guys
of
say you
stuff.
need volunteers specifically for specific response?
I'm running the tickets, so I run
You need ticket
shifts. The
volunteers,
the
okay.
venues that I mentioned, we actually sell the tickets to get into those venues. All the rest of them are free.
Okay.
And we have ticket taker shifts that I'm working through.
Scorekeeping at the facility, at the venues, so at the private courts. Actually, they're called monitors, but,
Yeah, I think what they really need too are people that are willing to host a Pac-12 couple players. You have to have one bed per person. I know the lady that runs it, and she's about 9 short right now.
Well, if there's any Bruins, I have 2 bedrooms. But no SC guys. On the low.
As long as you have beds.
yes, and you'll notice that the Bruins are ranked higher than the Trojans this year.
As they should be.
Yeah, as they should be.
No, they're not. Sorry. SC's 2 and UCLA's 3.
I think we may need to change the seating order for
move on.
future meetings.
Sorry. We do watch women's. so,
Okay.
I'm bringing my seat.
Are we-
hat.
I know.
Okay, so any other comments from the commissioners?
Oh,
right.
the skate park ad hoc committee should meet in the next few weeks. I don't think we've come up with an exact date yet, but we're close. And
Speak to that.
we'll be talking about lights.
Yeah, finally get
Positive,
positive.
yeah,
We
good.
will.
See the plan?
Good news.
I want to make
is-
sure they're in for summer.
So that'll be back on the agenda in May?
That is our hope.
Okay.
We are pushing very hard to get that committee to meet, the skate park operations committee to meet between now and then. As I stated, it looks like May will be a pretty weighty agenda. We'll have the city manager's budget report out at that point, so we'll have the discussion on the budget at that meeting, as well as the capital improvement plan, which will entail everything from, what we want to do in the next few years, whether it be short-term planning, long-term planning, outdoor basketball courts, you name it. That'll be the time to have that discussion and hopefully work up a recommendation for the capital improvement plan as well as the budget. Briefly, we've, and of course, much like you, we have not seen the city manager's budget. That's still being developed, but we've gone through our preliminary review with the finance director, and so far everything appears to be in very good shape. We don't want to be counting chickens because we know what kind of situation that can get in. So, but I would say even very conservatively with our revenue projections, we expect to be running in the black again this year. And we're still massaging the numbers a little bit for 14-15. And as Mr. Katsas and I were discussing today, one of the challenges with projecting revenues is obviously you don't want to bank on revenues and then start spending money and then not have those revenues and then find yourself upside down at mid-year or 3/4 of the way through the year. And of course, we make our revenue projections based on what we have seen historically. So we're always kind of in this point right now where we have a pretty good sense of what our revenues are going to look like at the end of the fiscal year, but we've still got several months to go and several big programs that are still to come to fruition. So on one hand, I think you can say, boy, we know where we're at, and it's pretty likely that we're going to reach here, whatever here is. But I think that it makes the challenge then, because when we finally have those numbers and know, for example, last fiscal year, and it's just the nature of the beast, it wasn't until, the books are, the fiscal year closes June 30th, and then, there's the process of reconciling the books, and that, takes a month or 6 weeks. And then at that point, we really have an idea of what our actual revenues were for the year before, which then gives you something a little bit more that you can hang your hat on in terms of your projections. But of course, at that point, the budget's already gone through for that next fiscal year. So, much like last year, we projected pretty conservatively, and then we came in pretty good with our revenues, and we were able to bank that money for capital improvement programs. And we think we're going to do pretty well this year as well. But again, we'd be counting chickens at that point. So the long and the short of that is, I think our budget revenue projections are still very conservative and probably artificially low for both 13-14 and 14-15. So if you look at the numbers just from that standpoint, everything looks pretty balanced. While we anticipate we're probably going to be quite a bit to the black, just as we had been for the previous fiscal year. But again, We're
Let's
counting
just make
chickens at
sure,
that point.
well, I'm gonna go back to the chicken thing. Let's make sure that the chickens aren't, eventually, a wolf doesn't come in and grab them.
Exactly, right,
Laughter.
right.
We wanna
so-
make sure that we're there and it stays there.
Exactly.
Can I ask you, can I go back to the lights real quick?
Sure. Oh, and actually, I was going to give a little bit more on that, so
Okay.
please, go ahead.
So as far as the ad hoc committee meeting, what will happen after that? What's your plan for that?
So, assuming that we don't run into any fatal flaw issues at the Operations Committee, and I don't anticipate any, but again, we haven't had that meeting, we haven't had that public input, but assuming that that goes well, and I'm pretty confident on that because we did have an initial meeting with the plan, and really the only thing that's changed on the plan is we've gone from metal halide to LEDs, which from our perspective has only made the project more efficient, more cost-effective, and easier for the end user, because with the metal halides, you had that need for the recharge when they went out. Again, we're talking about having a coin-operated timer that would give some type of an alert to the skaters that their time is starting to run out, so that obviously the park
Just
just
like the
doesn't go,
tennis
you know,
courts, yeah.
dark on them. But with the metal halide lights, there's that requirement that you got to allow them to cool down 10, 15 minutes before you can put them back up again. We don't have that problem with the LEDs. So that's going to be a big advantage for the user.
And the cost
Okay.
is significantly less to run
And
them,
that's the
correct?
other thing. You're
And
looking
and it's
at
all
a-
night sky,
Yeah.
you know.
There is shielding on that, and it does not, and it doesn't exceed the maximum light off the property and all that.
Okay.
And part of what Skate Ojai and I did was we met in the last month with the skating designer to really go through that plan in detail so that we could understand what they were proposing and to ensure that what we wanted to make sure was that we had sufficient light for that type of a recreation facility.
Okay.
So the next step, if we get it past the Operations Committee, would be to get it before this body. And like I said, the plan would be to get that in front of the commission at the May meeting. And then if we have a positive recommendation to go forward from the Parks Commission, we need to get the okay from the school district, which is the property owner. And again, we've had some preliminary discussions with them. I don't anticipate any issues there with that, but we do need their approval since it is considered to be a modification to the facility. And then it will need city council approval, and I know this seems awkward or strange because this is typically not the order that things go. Typically, things go to the planning commission before they would go to the city council. In this case, the city council is the applicant as the property owner, and so the final approval falls to the planning commission for that for the permit for that. So that's the process that we're looking at.
Okay.
So I want to make kind of a little joke about this. So the city council is the one asking for the light, and so they're going to go to the planning commission, and the planning commission says, no, you can't have the light, take it back to the city council, and then the city council approves their own request. There's a little redundancy here, just in the short thinking. But aside from that, I'd like to just make sure that if they're ready, that they get to the May meeting, no matter how congested we are. I know it's important for them. And also, I don't know if we have to wait till they're approved to go to the school board to get their blessing. I think that's something that you might be able to do simultaneously.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, and
Rather than waiting, because it's just another wait.
Yeah.
That's my thought on that.
Yeah.
the only step that I would say is I would want to at least get it through this body before we went to the school board.
Well,
Well, I'm saying that I think you can do that
we can do that now.
simultaneously. I mean,
I think the part that we needed to weigh in on, we've weighed in on, but,
right.
Obviously,
I
you need
think-
to present it. and
well,
show
no, I
them.
mean, I think that, I guess the way I'm looking at this is that there was not enough technical information previous to this point. It
Correct.
was never an issue for this commission, my recollection of our discussions with whether yes or no, it was clearly from from the commission and body's point of view, good, lights are great, we want to go forward with this, everything we've seen looks good. We don't have any technical savvy, that's not what we weigh in on. And so staff was, getting that all straightened out. So I think then the only thing that would come back here is not anything having to do with the lights or the structures or any of that, but in the last part would be procedural process-oriented stuff.
Right.
Which isn't any part of what we're discussing right now. So it really shouldn't wait on,
If they could do it, we just think it would expedite the project. The other thing, at the end of this, they still have to seek funding. I'm not sure that they have all the funding for this.
I don't know anything about it. either, so.
So,
I
the,
can't answer that. I
right.
don't know.
Well, I
believe
don't
they
think they do from the people I've talked to. So they need to get the funding, and again, as quick as they can get all these approvals, the quicker they can get this funding.
Yeah, it's definitely
So-
a chicken and the egg type of situation there.
So that's all we're saying. If you can recommend to them that they do, get ready for a presentation for us, and that same presentation be given to the school board, or have the school board come here and be a part of the presentation to us, that way you're killing two birds with one stone.
Well, we'll-
Anyway,
We'll nail down the schedule before we come to the Parks Commission, and I understand the request, and I don't disagree. We want to do everything that we can to keep it moving forward, so.
So it'll
we'll
be
look
on the
at that
May, it'll be
process.
on the May
yeah,
agenda.
they've waited a long time. I'm sure they'd like it done as quick as they can.
Yeah, the only thing that would keep it from going to the May Parks and Recreation Commission meeting would be if the Skate Park Operations Commission raised some highly significant issue that we were not able to resolve.
And which, having been at those meetings, again, is a little bit like this body. It comes forward, everyone goes, yeah, but there's technical information lacking, so.
So if we're done with that, then yeah. And
All
then-
right.
yeah.
Well, I can see that we don't have a council liaison tonight.
We switched, I don't know who's supposed to be
Right.
here.
That's okay.
Servio or Servo.
Not sure what happened.
Smith,
No, oh, yes, Severa,
Smith?
maybe?
I don't know.
No, I think we had
I'm not
Carol,
sure.
Not
I think we had Carol Smith prior
Because we
to
just had her.
Carlin. So it's either, and we had Paul before that, so I think it's, Savaros, but,
I'm sure that Steve will.
We'll follow up.
Make sure that that person is present at our future meetings.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there.
okay, so future meetings, dates, and agenda items. Do we, so we said something about,
Parkway.
something for August, something for,
Well, we were
something for June,
talking about planning for June.
right?
Skate will be in May, budget's in May.
Boyd Center meetings and the community outreach meeting concept for the
June.
June agenda.
Right. Okay, anything else?
I think that was it.
I think that's it.
And our next meeting is May,
Let's see.
6th, May 5th? We're going to be we'll be meeting the Thursday before the,
Right before the, yeah.
right.
On my calendar.
Like, it's my calendar here.
First.
I think it's first, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay. So
Yes.
we're actually meeting 9 days before the big to-do.
Good timing.
Yeah, that works out pretty well.
Perfect, okay. All right, anyone else have any other comments?
I just have a real quick, would like to request something real fast from staff. And that is from you guys out there. So I'm wanting to look at future classes for older adults, guitar for older, different sports things out there and stuff, and see what we can come up with.
Sure, and that can be part of the open house survey if you're going to do a survey and what those needs are.
I think
I mean, we do have a handful. I can think of a few. I mean, you're talking specifically for seniors or anyone 50
Well,
or
no, I'm
older,
talking
or-
about everybody from high school age on up.
Oh, that kind of
Yeah,
older.
I mean, I don't think we're reaching, we had a little discussion, the other day, I don't think we're reaching a lot of those high school students that we really need to bring into the organization. And by offering something that their school doesn't offer.
Well, I also
Sure.
think one of the things we talked about was it doesn't have to be associated to athletics.
No, exactly.
It could
Most
be
of them are.
writing, it could be drama, it could be
Well, like you talked about guitar or
Geography.
a number of things.
piano, whatever
Yeah,
the.
piano,
whatever the-
guitar.
Yeah, whatever those.
So that goes on our June meeting.
Whatever.
Doesn't that fit right there with the June, the planning, the programming, looking at how to outreach to
Sure,
the
I would,
community?
I mean,
It
but
seems
I
like it
just
would
want to
fit into
give,
that. Yeah.
give them a little bit of time to see if what might work and what might not work.
Sure, well, and if you've got ideas, go ahead and float those to Sophocles
Okay,
or me or
I'll send you an
whomever,
email.
and we can start thinking about that and working on that, and at least maybe be a little more prepared for the
Okay.
discussion in June.
Very
That'd be
good.
great.
All right, I think we're done.
Actually, couple more things for
You
me.
have the floor, Steve.
Sorry.
No problem.
The city manager and I did meet with a couple of the folks that are interested in bringing forward the bike park.
Oh, good.
Oh,
And
I was gonna
we
ask that
we
about
did
this.
we did have a good meeting with them, and we were able to communicate, I think, a little more clearly to their benefit, some of the questions that we need answered and what we're kind of looking for, at least in terms of a basic proposal, before we could bring something forward to this body for consideration. So, like I said, I think that was a good exchange, and I think both sides walked away with a little better understanding of we have a little better understanding of what they're trying to do, and I think they have a little better understanding of what it is that we need before we can bring something forward. So we provided them a little additional information, and they are going to go back and do their homework, so to say, and then they will be coming back to us. So just to let you know where that is right now. And also, I want to thank Vice Chair Ryan Lanner for passing on a concern at the skate park regarding the restrooms. I just wanted to assure the commission
I get
that
the best emails.
we do keep a close eye on the restroom there. It does get maintained and checked regularly. We have had a series of incidents with vandalism and other things that are occurring that are causing the bathroom to plug up. And of course, as we hear those concerns, we're running out there and addressing it. I didn't want the commission or the public to get the impression that we have a problem that's not getting fixed. We've had to make several attempts out there to unclog the drain. In some situations, Public Works has actually had to call in a plumber to be able to get it rectified. So, unfortunately, we have been having some situations there with the restroom, which has caused for some users, the complaint has been every time they show up, the restroom is not working. So I just want to let people know that, we are responding to those, we are getting them cleared, and then the problem has been repeating itself then. So just information there. I don't have any grand solution on how to solve that problem. But
You can lock them up.
No, that's the only public restroom from here to Libby, and it's used in a public parking spot. The bus stops there.
Right.
The amount of use is probably more than, I don't know.
yeah, and I don't want to imply that it's the
it's not
skaters
skaters.
doing it, and we certainly have issues with other restrooms with vandalism throughout the city. So it's not like we are immune to that in other locations as well. But I just wanted to let the commission know that we are responding to the issues out there. We are getting it cleared up, and unfortunately, it has been repeating itself.
Video surveillance.
Ew, who wants to watch that?
That would probably reduce the use of the restroom, but
It
anyways.
really makes you wonder what anyone is doing in a restroom, other than using it.
I
But it's just sick.
care not to speculate.
I'll make the
That's a
statement.
great way to
I'll
end the
make the
meeting.
statement. It's just sick.
It is disheartening.
Just don't
yeah.
want them to ruin it for the
Disgusting.
kids that are out there. I mean,
I know.
the kids are the ones that probably, there may be a couple, 2 or 3 that do something out there.
Right.
But you got another 250
That's right.
that depend on that.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, and unfortunately, those are the ones
Well,
that feel the impact
And,
of
I
it.
said lock it up, but the reality is you can't lock it up. You've got to deal with that small percentage of vandalism. You just have to deal with it.
Right. So hopefully the situation will get better, and we will continue to clear it. Let's see, also just wanted to mention that starting with this meeting and going forward, and I'm very grateful for the help. But the city clerk is going to be preparing the minutes for these meetings going forward, so that'll be one less thing off my plate. And hopefully that will help. It will help me, and I think it will help us be a little more timely with bringing the minutes forward, because I know the clerk will stay on top of that. So
Was that a promotion?
Let me just say I'm very grateful for the assistance. So and our clerk Rhonda Basor does a very good job with the minutes. So you can look forward to having that additional help going forward. That's all I have.
Okay, that's it. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, I guess we're adjourned.
Thank you.
That's it.